Welcome to Bart's Gaming Corner. Today we're taking a look back at one of the greatest RPGs of all time, The Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt. Having been released in 2015, this game is already 8 years old and got a makeover last year, when an improved edition with 4K graphics and even more content was made available. Many great stories, whether in books, movies or TV series, are basically about family. Most famous examples are TV series, such as The Sopranos, Game of Thrones. Yes, I know, the ending sucks. And more recently shows like Succession or Yellowstone. With video games this may seem less obvious, but you still have some great examples as well. Starting for instance with Super Mario Bros. Or Red Dead Redemption. And I can't think of any reason why The Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt isn't a prime example of this. Yes, of course you get to save the world from a nameless threat, while killing scores of monsters and bandits in the process. Family and struggles that come from family are square at the heart of much of the game, ranging from the main quest to many, if most, of the side quests. Geralt of Rivia himself has to find his adopted daughter while dealing with various characters who have their own bones to pick with family members. You got the famous Bloody Baron, or him later, who wants you to find his missing wife and daughter, the enigmatic Olgierd from Everec, nobleman and leader of a callous band of mercenaries, who has his own mysterious family past, and who wants you to show the ghost of his dead brother a good time. One of the more hilarious quests in the otherwise somewhat more grim Hearts of Stone DLC. The same goes for the more idyllic Duchy of Toussaint, setting in the Blood and Wine DLC, where there's plenty of family drama to go around. In this video we're gonna take a look at the game and what makes it so great for me. This is not going to be a normal review. Well, the original game has been on the market for 8 years now, and the enhanced edition for a year. This is more of a love letter to a game in which I personally spent more than 428 hours at the time of recording, as you can see in this screenshot. First, let's take a look at the obvious game elements, graphics, sound and gameplay. After that I want to delve deeper into the story and what made me play this game over and over again. Graphics. When The Witcher 3 was released in 2015, I was amazed by the stunning graphics. The game's world was incredibly detailed with lush forests, sprawling cities and towering mountains. Every now and then, when wandering around seated on the trusty steed Roche, I just stopped to take in the surroundings. Whether it was the rough, war-torn marshes and hills in Velen, the cities of Novigrad and Oxenfurt were greatly inspired by the canals of Amsterdam, the city centers of old famous Hanse towns in the Baltic. And I almost forgot about the impressive mountains and forests of Skellige, or the sunlit lavender fields of the Duchy of Toussaint. Traveling through the latter was like taking a nostalgia trip back to my holidays in France with my parents when I was just a small, young Bart. Character models were also highly detailed and the facial animations were some of the best in any video game at that time. Although granted, many of the facial models and ugly ass haircuts were used over and over again. You would come across the same grumpy farmers in every setting of the game. The 2022 enhanced edition of The Witcher 3 took the graphics to the next level. The game now features ray tracing, which adds a layer of realism to the lighting and shadows. The textures have also been improved and the overall look of the game is even more stunning than before. Both the details on the characters were improved, such as in the armor, but in the background as well. For instance, you can see the smoke rising from chimneys of different villages and towns from miles away. Now, in all honesty, the difference between the HD and the 4K graphics isn't that impressive, especially when compared for instance with Cyberpunk 2077, but it's still a major improvement. Sound. The sound design in this game is just as impressive as the graphics. The game's world is filled with ambient sounds such as the chirping of crickets, especially in Toussaint, the howling of wolves, Velen again, and the crashing of waves. These sounds help to create a sense of immersion and make the world feel more alive. The soundtrack for The Witcher is also excellent. It features a mix of orchestral, folk and electronic music. The soundtrack perfectly captures the atmosphere of the game and helps to tell the story. Marcin Prisbilowicz is the composer behind the near-perfect soundtrack. He wrote the music for Cyberpunk 2077 as well. Both soundtracks have a distinct and unique feel to them, making Marcin, in my eyes, the Hans Zimmer of game composers. Voice acting is of the highest level, as well as I would have expected, with Dave Cockle reprising his role as Geralt himself, using the same gruff, stoic tone of voice as in the earlier games. Him saying, "The wind's howling," makes me immediately feel at home. The gameplay in The Witcher 3 is somewhat of a mixed bag, but it's ultimately a positive experience. Depending on the difficulty level, the combat can be challenging and rewarding, or you can set it to story mode and just enjoy the story. Now, for die-hard action RPG fans, the combat mechanics can be a bit underwhelming. The game controls can be a bit clunky and the UI is not always user-friendly. However, these flaws are minor compared to the overall quality of the gameplay. Besides, for me personally, these are of lesser importance. The combat works for me, and combined with the whole package, graphics and storyline included, for me this game is near perfect. The story and setting. Alright, here we come to the gist of why I have played and replayed this game so much. As I've said in the intro, at the heart of many a good video game is a good story. And this is where The Witcher shines, both in the main story and in the many side quests. The storyline is you as Geralt, the Witcher, trying to find your adoptive daughter Ciri. The Witcher is a monster hunter, asked or ordered by the powerful Emperor Emir of Nilfgaard, and held by, on and off again, love of your life, the ambitious sorceress Jennifer of Vengerberg. And Geralt isn't the only one after Ciri. The mysterious magical wild hunt, a band of evil elves, is after her as well. And on your travels you come across them many times. What struck me is on how many characters in the game are invested in your success, in you actually finding Ciri alive and well. Yennefer obviously, your fellow Witchers, and Dandelion, the hilarious Bart. But hardened warriors and druids on the tough islands of Skellige as well. A region with a Viking flavor, but where everyone speaks with a thick Irish brogue for some reason. The Bloody Baron quest. In my intro I stated that one of the most memorable quests in The Witcher 3 is the Bloody Baron quest. This quest takes Geralt to investigate the disappearance of a woman and her child, the Baron's wife and daughter. Along the way you learn about the Baron's troubled past and his relationship with them. And this troubled past is an understatement. The Baron at first glance is a jovial mercenary, but you also found out he is a mean drunk who's not above hitting his wife when it suits his mood. But he's not just 100% the villain in this story. In the world of The Witcher you almost never encounter situations that are pure black and white. And here it is not different. The Baron's wife is just as complicit in this abusive relationship. When the game came out, one of the main creators cited his own youth as inspiration for this incredible humane storyline. And for me it's quite relatable as well. It pains me to say this, but a couple of years back I myself was in a relationship with a partner who was psychologically abusive. Luckily this relationship didn't last long, but when I replayed the game shortly after that and came to the Bloody Baron quest, something clicked. This was all very familiar territory. It also helped me, in a way, deal with my own past in a way. Now, not all quests are as heavy-handed as this one, but at least most of them have a similar, unique flavor to them. Just from showing a ghost a good time at a peasant's wedding, to helping an acquaintance find a couple of luxury items in the muddy swamps of Velen, to trying to catch a murderous vampire by walking around completely drunk. Luckily there aren't that many fetch quests compared to most RPGs, although you still need to find, for instance, a sword that a guardsman in Skellige lost to some bandits. or help a troll with finding some red paint, and there are similar quests like that. Which brings us to catching and killing monsters, which is the actual raison d'être of Geralt the Witcher. In The Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings, this always felt more of an afterthought. In each game location you could find a couple of assignments for monster killing, but as I remember, no more than 3 or 4 at a time. In The Witcher 3, the Wild Hunt monster killing is at the forefront of the game. Being an open world RPG, there's plenty of opportunity to kill monsters. You will come across them during your travels, and in almost every village or town someone will offer money to kill a Leshen, evil spirit, werewolf, vampire, or any other abomination that is plaguing the nearby countryside. Some of the monsters and adversaries in the world of The Witcher are all familiar, tropes of the type you would come across in almost every other fantasy setting, but many feel quite unique and fresh, coming from mostly Slavic myths and legends. Witcher the game versus Witcher the show. Okay, we have to talk shortly about the elephant in the room. How does the game hold up against the show, or vice versa? Now, there are many fine YouTubers out there who will have an outspoken opinion about this, so I won't spend hours on this, but I must admit, even I am a little bit disappointed, mainly with the last season. I realize that video games and TV are two different mediums, and that the show is an adaptation, meaning that the writers and showrunners have to take different elements into account than game developers. The casting of the main characters, all is fine with me. Henry Cavill almost exactly looks and acts like game Geralt. The casting of Yennefer and Ciri is great. The actor playing Dandelion, or Jaskier as he is called in the show, is hilarious. The supporting cast is a bit of a hit or miss, but my main problem is with the overall quality. Season 1 was entertaining but a bit convoluted. Season 2 was a big improvement. Now we're getting there, I thought. But the first half of the third season is, well, not more than meh. I keep forgetting what the main plot is. Maybe when the full season is available we can give a more honest review, but so far I'm not that impressed. Conclusion. Okay, enough ranting, back to the actual video game. I invested more than 400 hours playing The Witcher 3 DLCs and Enhanced Edition included. So it probably won't come as a shock that this game is one of my favorites, next to the original Baldur's Gate games, which I have played to death, and the Mass Effect series. Is The Witcher still playable in 2023, 8 years on? Even without the improved graphics of the Enhanced Edition, I would say 1,000 times yes. The massive amounts of content, the high quality of the writing, the storylines that are either heartbreaking or funny, or a combination, all have made this game an instant classic. So if you haven't already, give this game a go, or replay it just for some excellent entertainment before Baldur's Gate 3 is released. If you like this type of content, hit the like and subscribe button. I will see you in the next video.